Sports and leisure.
Because? Oh, is it gonna tell
It's
me
on the
when?
next.
Okay.
It's on the next slide. Why I chose this? It's because when I was younger, I was very shy, and it helped me come out of my shell and actually learn to talk to people. Because I had I did not know that many people. So off you go. And the first one is the right triangle, and I used the soccer net. And it actually has alternating right triangles, flipped every single time going through, and the triangle.
Use the net itself.
Yeah. And it fits my thing because soccer's a sport. Yeah. And the acute triangle. And it's a picture of a pool rack. And it's because the angles are less than 90 degrees to prove that it's an acute triangle. And since it's used in pool, it's considered a leisure activity. The obtuse triangle. And I used a bike. And I know it's an obtuse triangle because the angle.
Yep.
I keep pressing
Do you need to go backwards?
No.
Oh, there you go.
So I know it because it is greater than 90 degrees, but less than 180. And since bicycles are used in cycling, this fits my theme of sports. The angle bisector. It's a baseball field, and it has a bisector because it goes directly in the field to the pitcher's mound to second base. And it fits my theme because baseball's a sport, and there's no bases because baseball's not being played right now, so had to improvise. Segment bisector. I used a football, and because the segment bisector, it bisects the segment multiple times. And because it's used to play football, it fits my theme again. Collinear points, I use the chessboard, and they're collinear because they are points on a straight line. And chess is a leisure activity, so it still fits into the category I chose. And then I use pool balls scattered along a pool table. They're non-collinear because they're all off the line. Even though some can still be on the line, they're still considered it. And the arrow is pointing to some of the point. It's just the one of the points. And since they are used in pool, it's a leisure activity / sport, depending who you ask. I used 2 parallel lines on soccer field. It was kind of hard because it was kind of cloudy, so I couldn't see the lines no matter where I took the picture. So I had to improvise by doing this. And soccer's a sport, and since it's played on this field, it's a sport. Two perpendicular lines. It's a tennis court, and the arrow is pointing to them. And they are perpendicular because they both meet at a given point here. And since tennis is sport, it fits the theme. A pair of vertical angles formed by 2 intersecting lines. Okay, it's a baseball bats crossing, and they're vertical angles because they're across from each other. And since baseball bats are used in baseball, it fits my theme. Adjacent angles. I used a basketball, and it has adjacent angles because they're next to each other. And this fits my theme because they're used in basketball. Opposite rays, I used the center line of a basketball court, and they're opposite rays because they both meet, but then go along. Since they meet at the circle, they still continue on after that. A line intersecting a plane. I use field goal post, and the arrow pointing to it. Oh my gosh.
It's okay.
Doesn't even have to go back. I just skipped I skipped like 3 slides in the process trying to fix it.
carried away with your
I
mouse.
tried to use the scroll wheel to go back and it did not work.
Oh, Candle. Okay.
And line intersecting the plane because the line crosses at the plane. I use two parallel planes. I use tennis courts again because they go perfectly next to each other. Pair of corresponding angles. I use the tennis racket. And they're corresponding because they're next to each other. Just like adjacent angles, but different. For two lines cut by a transversal, I use a track, and it has actually two transversals on the parallel line, right here and right here. And some checks this boy fits my theme. And was it easy or difficult? I thought there was a lot of difficulties. It was mostly trying to find stuff that fit the category. Like the triangles were easy, but then you started getting to the angles and it took a while. And it took a while because there was a lot of stuff to find, and make sure you didn't use duplicates of it. Like the tennis toys, I know that. Oh my gosh, I skipped a slide. Well, what I learned is that it's all around us, even without you realizing they're still there. Yeah.
At the start of my day, I jolt my head up from my pillow as I hear my phone alarm sounding from across the room. As I lift up my head, I happen to notice that the sides of my pillows are close to identical. Then I realize that the line between the pillows is the segment bisector of the bottom line of the pillows. Each bottom pillow now equaling about 17.5 inches, and I use my measure app to show you guys. Acute triangle. I managed to stumble out of bed and go to my closet to get dressed for the day, and I decided that the t-shirt shown is what I will wear for the day. And as I lay it out on the bed, I look at the shirt and think about the triangle, and realize that the triangle is acute. Perfect! I yell quite loudly, waking up my whole family. I can use this for my math project. Still yelling. I then put the shirt on and go to the bathroom to brush my teeth. Whoa! Starting my normal bathroom routine, I wash my hands, water first, then soap. This makes my hands extremely slippery, and as I take the tube of toothpaste out of the cabinet, I drop it on the floor. Gosh darn it, now I have to clean up toothpaste. I stop mid-sentence. I'm in total awe as I realize that my toothpaste totally 100% made a right triangle on the floor all by itself. Phase 2, the art's alive. I walk into the auditorium for rehearsal and set my bag down as usual. Then I look out onto the aisle and notice the two lines on the sides of the aisle are parallel. Once again, perfect for my project. I pull out my phone and take a picture. Some silly kid walks in my way. Once I yell at him for ruining my picture, I try again and get a decent picture. Two lines cut by a transversal. I woke up on stage to get ready for my part, and I noticed something quite useful about the handrail. If you extend the line from the cover at the bottom of the rail, the handrail becomes a transversal, cutting two parallel lines. How nifty. While waiting backstage, I noticed an egg crate backstage. This cube-like prism has two parallel sides, I say aloud to nobody in particular. I will now take a picture of the egg crate. And then I took a picture of the egg crate to spread the tissue right here. I don't know how much you want of this. I can skip to the best part. Okay. As today's Arts Alive rehearsal comes to a close, my dad messages me, letting me know he's outside. I walk down the hall to exit the building. I start hopping only in the square tiles on the floor without stepping on the edges, as I am still a first grader at art. As I jump around like a lunatic, I notice that the sides of the tiles create perpendicular lines, and as should be expected at this point, I take a picture of them for my project. Phase 3, the extremely short phase where I go home in between rehearsals and eat lunch in my room very quickly. The extremely short phase where I go home in between rehearsals and eat lunch in my room very quickly. Collinear points. I bring my normal lunch, always consisting of some combination of meat, cheese, and bread, up to my room, and my eyes are drawn over to my bass guitar with only 2 strings. At first I think about why I ever replaced the strings yet, but afterwards I realize the 2 tuning peg strings on the headboard kind of line up on the same bass string, like 2 collinear points, but being perfectly honest, they're pretty off center. But they both still touch the string, so if you like back up and you like take your glasses off and squint really hard, then you can kind of be like, oh, I can see what he's talking about. So, all right. Phase 4, Beauty and the Beast rehearsals at the Rehearsal Seneca Theater. I spent a really long time looking for an equilateral triangle, finally found one on the sticker of the speaker, and then realized that we did not need an equilateral triangle for this project. Either way, here it is, free bonus. Throw it in for you guys. Obtuse triangle. At today's rehearsal, there was no orchestra, so I was able to head down into the pit. While I was down in the pit, I noticed that 2 legs of one of the music stands created an obtuse triangle. Of course, I just had to document this for my project. Oh, that was weird. Corresponding angles. Remembering my handrail situation earlier, I immediately noticed how the handrail and wall design here paired together to make some corresponding angles. These angles made from 2 parallel lines cut by a transversal. I don't think I finished my sentence here. I just like slapped a period on it. Like, that's good. But you know, there's a line here, and these are 2 parallel lines. So before I started writing, I think I knew what I was talking about. After a break, I was heading back up on stage when I noticed the 2 pencils on this keyboard, with the pencil tips pointing in opposite directions. I made the connection between these pencils in opposite ways, as the erasers act like a common point, and the pencil tips are similar to the arrows on a ray. So I like drew it out for you. Line intersecting a plane. This music stand pushed up against a wood platform we used for the west wing at the theater immediately caught my attention once I saw it during my search for a line intersecting a plane. The music stand acts as the plane in this situation, and the edge of the platform acts as the line. Non-collinear points. Right after I found my line intersecting a plane, I noticed that my friend's contact case was right on the lines or part of the wood made up the platform, parts of the wood. I realized that I could use each bubble on his contact case as a point, and since there are 2 different lines, they are non-collinear, because they're not the same. Adjacent angles. While ensuring that my costumes were on the rack and ready to go for show night, I noticed that 2 hangers were intersecting each other, and I realized I could use these intersecting hangers for my adjacent angles, as the crossing wires on the hangers create 4 angles. Try to say that was fast. Earlier on, when I was climbing out of the pit, when I was taking a picture of my obtuse triangle, I noticed a corner that formed an angle and had a line that, if even, would have bisected the angle. However, even though it was uneven, if you draw a line through the inside and outside points on the corner, it bisects the angle. Alright. Phase 5, the nighty-night bedtime phase. Nighty-night bedtime phase. A pair of vertical angles formed by 2 intersecting lines. Once I get home from rehearsals, it's very late and I must enter the nighty-night bedtime phase. The first step of this phase involves me getting a cup of water in case I get super thirsty while I'm trying to sleep. What I hadn't realized until recently, though, is how my straw intersects a line in the cup's design. This makes 4 angles. 2 pairs of these 4 angles are vertical. Perpendicular lines again. I did it twice. Like, whoa. Now that my glass of water is full, I go over to get a snack from my mini fridge before I go to bed. As I grab a pudding to eat, I realize that one of the shelves in my fridge has a striped pattern, and that one stripe in my fridge intersects another stripe, creating perpendicular lines and 90-degree angles along with them. Phase 6, the finale. I chose the theme I did because after getting so far into this class, I now often compare things in geometry to things I just so happen to see in my daily routine. I find that there are many, many things we use in geometry that naturally occur in the world around us. So with that in mind, I found a lot of this scavenger hunt not to be too challenging. But on the other hand, there are some things I find to be difficult that wouldn't occur as often, such as the line intersecting the plane or an equilateral triangle.
You are just like your father.
Oh, thank you. Not that this is even on the assignment, but I still found it surprisingly hard. Out of all of the things I learned during this project, I'd have to say the most important is that out of all the math courses I've taken so far, geometry will most likely end up having the greatest impact on day-to-day life, simply because geometry occurs so much in nature. The great thing about this is how much other maths happen to tie into geometry, like using algebra to solve for an unknown side, or using trigonometry to find the missing angle of a triangle. In conclusion, I learned that geometry is immensely important because its importance in everyday life and the importance in everyday life it brings to other types of math. I'm not done! Phase theta. Phase theta. AKA the Mr. Siebert Happy Birthday Fun Time phase. We need to call him done. I'm joking. Ready? Go! Day to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to dear one. Happy birthday to you.